And we are live, Toronto Stevie Live, Saturday afternoon. And just a quick follow up to last night. In Your Head Wrestling Radio, Nasty Neil came out with the annual Hetty Awards. Better late than never. And guess what? Yours truly, Toronto Stevie, actually won two Hetty Awards, including and most importantly, Most Handsome Man of the Hettyverse. Of course, I won. But that was last night. Check it out on YouTube, Facebook, and where all the socials are. But this is the SmackDown Summary Report, and we get SmackDown opening up with the entrance of Cody Rhodes arriving at the arena. He's met by Nick Aldis, the general manager of SmackDown, and the big storyline in this show, well, one of them, was that Gunther is going to get a rematch next week on SmackDown, and he gets to choose the stipulation. And last week, he said that the stipulation would be that he is going to choose a special guest referee for the rematch. And we just have to wait until later on in the show who that special guest referee is going to be. So Cody Rhodes keeps walking backstage, and he's confronted by the Usos. Jimmy and Jay are there, and Jay is in the main event tonight, a fatal four-way to determine who advances in the King of the Ring tournament semifinals. And Jay basically tells Cody Rhodes, when I win this match, I'm going to win the King of the Ring tournament, and when I win the King of the Ring tournament, I'm coming after you for that undisputed WWE Championship. So Cody, so that basically sets up the main event. Elsewhere, everyone's favorite backstage interviewer and mine, the very nice Kathy Kelly, is with Jade Cargill, B-Fab, and Michin. And basically, Jade Cargill says that she's going to repeat as Queen of the Ring. And when she does, she's coming after the title held by Rhea Ripley. And this leads into the Queen of the Ring semi-final match. But I think it was Wade Barrett and I think Michael Cole were the... is it Wade Barrett or was it Joe Tessitore? Because I know Joe wasn't there last week. And it was the semifinals or the quarterfinals. Charlotte Flair versus Jade Cargill versus Sol Ruka, the Ladies Intercontinental Champion, versus Lyra Valkyria. Fatal four-way. And this was a pretty good back and forth match. At one point, you had B-Fab and Michin interfering in the match, and this brought out Alexa Bliss, who came down to the ring and started fighting with B-Fab and Michin. And when they started to get the advantage, that brought out Tiffany Stratton. So Tiffany Stratton and Alexa Bliss fought off B-Fab and Michin, leaving Jade Cargill by herself in the ring. Coming back from the commercial break, you had Sol Ruka. She wasn't a factor in this match as she paired off with, I think, Lyra Valkyria. And she didn't win the match. This left Charlotte and Jade in the ring. Everyone's looking forward to a one-on-one match between Charlotte Flair and Jade Cargill. I'm kind of looking forward to it myself, but in this case, I think it was Charlotte got Jade out of the ring. Lyra came back into the ring, tried to do a leg drop on Jade, but Charlotte immediately put Lyra Valkyria into the figure 4 leg lock and turned it into the figure 8, and Lyra immediately tapped out. So basically, Jade Cargill doesn't advance but Charlotte Flair does. And I think later on they announced that, so it will be in the semifinals, Charlotte Flair versus Liv Morgan on one side of the brackets. Can't really remember who's on the other side, but that's going to be, I think, next week on SmackDown. Charlotte Flair versus Liv Morgan. Um, Backstage, Tiffany Stratton is with Kathy Kelly. And they're confronted by she's confronted by BFAB and Michin, but Chelsea Green wields a kendo stick and fights them off, and they basically announce that there's going to be a tag team match later on. Coming back from the commercial break, I think Gunther basically says, "Yo, you still have to wait for my decision, and I'll let you know later tonight." Finn Balor is with Kathy Kelly, and he's confronted by R-Truth, who is now back to doing the same old gimmick. Um, he's saying the Judgment Day is back together again. And I think this ended with Damian Priest coming in. And this is getting another thing that's getting old. And you think, why can't they just come up with something a little bit different, please? Coming back from the commercial break, there's a tag team match. Brie Bella and Paige, the women's tag team champions, taking on Fatal Influence, Fallon Henley and Lainey Reed, with JC Jane at ringside. I'm not really into this. I think the tag team champions retain the title. Was it Brie Bella? Paige rolled Reed up and got the pin. 1, 2, 3. I think this was a non-title match anyway. So Fatal Influence, which came up, started strong, beating up everybody, including like Charlotte Flair. Now they're jobbing. Same old. Sami Zayn is backstage talking to Johnny Gargano. Same thing. And then coming back from the commercial break, Danhausen is in his laboratory when he's confronted by Umberto and Garza. I think they're complaining to Danhausen that he cursed the New York Knicks, causing them to lose. And then they just walk away. And then Matt Cardona comes in. He says he actually asked Danhausen, "Could you curse someone for me?" And then he leaves. And then Kit Wilson and The Miz show up. And Wilson complains that The Miz is cursed and that The Miz acts like a zombie. Then I think this one ended with some sort of skit with Kit Wilson getting electrocuted or something. Anyway, it's this time-filling, mid-card, so-called comedy nonsense. Anyway, back into the ring. Here comes Sami Zayn, and this was a very long and, quite frankly, boring talking segment between Sami Zayn and Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes comes out, and they just kind of keep on talking. Sami Zayn's complaining, I was the first guy in the ring when you won the title, when you finished your story. I was the first guy there to congratulate you. I was out there before Kevin Owens, Jey Uso, LA Knight, CM Punk, John Cena, Randy Orton. He is, Sami Zayn, the iron was hot maybe last year, maybe 2 years ago. But this has just gone on for far too long. He's had opportunities, including one against Roman Reigns, and he just kept losing. He's really not that strong anymore. Anyway, they just ended with Sami Zayn got out of the ring, grabbed a steel chair, got back up on the ring apron, and you kind of thought, Cody held his ground, and he didn't Sami Zayn didn't attack Cody Rhodes. He just threw down the chair and left, and Cody was still standing strong. Meanwhile, backstage, yet another kind of character who's being used horribly, Jacob Fatu. He confronts Solo Sikoa, and Solo actually had a message which was actually 100% accurate. He says, Jacob says, I got a message from the OTC Roman Reigns. Um, it's been way too long and long enough. He says, Roman Reigns, he wants you to come home. And Solo just laughs in Jacob Fatu's face and says, this is not home. That's a doghouse, and your Roman Reigns' lapdog. Quite true, actually. Solo was actually correct about this. Jacob, you don't understand. What happened? What happened? You used to be a killer. Everyone was afraid of you. You're the Samoan werewolf. You came this close to beating Roman Reigns, and yet now you come and you deliver a message from your tribal chief. So Solo basically tells Jacob Fatu, Roman has done nothing but embarrass you, made you kneel down like a dog in front of the world and in front of your family. That's not how you treat someone you love. Anyway, Solo was packing some truth here about Jacob Fatu. I think WWE really dropped the ball with Jacob Fatu. They really should have had him win the second match, win the title. Roman Reigns, nothing. Roman Reigns is fine. If you had Jacob win that match and have a title run, Roman would have been fine. It would have elevated Jacob to the next level, but instead they dropped it and just put him back, had him drop 11 and wasted yet another credible champion main eventer. Coming back from the commercial break, AAA Cruiserweight Championship, the champion Rey Fenix versus Axiom. They showed some highlights from AAA of Rey winning the title, and this was a pretty good AAA match, kind of match on SmackDown. First time, I guess, that this belt had been defended, yet another title. But this was Rey Fenix retaining his title, and they called this move the Mexican Muscle Buster, kind of like the similar kind of move that Samoa Joe uses. Just a slight variation on it, but it was basically similar to what Samoa Joe does. And he pinned Axiom 1, 2, 3 to retain the Cruiserweight title. And coming back from the commercial break, I think this is where we found out who the special guest referee is. Gunther is with Nick Aldis, and he tells him, I've made my decision, and the special guest referee will be Sami Zayn. So I'm not sure, if, Sami's, they've been teasing a heel turn on Sami Zayn. I don't think this will be, I just kind of shrug my shoulders if Sami Zayn goes full-blown heel. He's really not, an intimidating force. If he turns heel and if he just costs Cody the title, so he gets into a secondary program with Cody Rhodes, and Cody would probably beat him anyway. So, but we'll see next week on SmackDown. It'll be Gunther versus Cody Rhodes with Sami Zayn as a special guest referee. And then we see, I think it was like a black SUV showing up, and Trick Williams and Little Yachty showing up, coming back from the commercial break. They come down to the ring, and they cut a quick promo, and Trick Williams, I don't know what, he referenced, I'm not sure if it was Dave Chappelle or somebody else, Charlie Murphy, Dave Chappelle. used to do this Rick James impersonation in which the tagline was, Rick James, bitch. And Trick Williams borrows this like 20-year-old, 30-year-old clip and says, I'm Trick James, bitch. And I thought, I just rolled my eyes at this. But anyway, Trick Williams and Lil Yachty are in the ring, and they're confronted by Ricky Saints and Carmelo Hayes. Both of them come down to the ring. They both get microphones, and they both basically are saying that they want a shot at the United States Heavyweight Championship. But Trick Williams just basically says to both of them, shut the hell up, it doesn't matter. And he tells them to figure it out on their own, and whoever wins can go and see him later. But until then, shut the hell up when the grown folks are talking. Anyway, Ricky Saints and Carmelo Hayes get into a fight, and it ends with Trick Williams coming back into the ring and basically taking out both of them. He gave the Booker T bookend to Ricky Saints and then just left. I think basically Trick Williams is right. It really doesn't matter who wins between Ricky Saints and Carmelo Hayes. Trick Williams is going to retain this title because he's one level above these guys. It really does not matter. I think Trick is eventually going to be elevated to the main event scene on SmackDown. Probably whether if it's Gunther who gets the belt eventually. Trick Williams versus Gunther. Here's a brand new matchup. Hey, there's an idea, a brand new matchup. But then again, Trick Williams versus Cody could be as well. I see we've got some folks here in the chat. Who do we got here? Mr. Chobo. Hey, Anthony, congratulations. Yes, you won some awards last night, but they were looking for you, Anthony. They wanted you to call in. You didn't call in, and they wanted you to call in and accept your awards, I guess. But congratulations on winning some Hetty Awards last night. Tune in on YouTube, the Hetty Awards. It was a short show, but it was a lot of fun. Actually, we kind of enjoyed it. Anthony, we missed you. So, getting back to the show. Kathy Kelly is backstage with Royce Keys, and I think he's confronted by Solo Sikoa, and Solo basically says that all of the bloodline is there, and basically Solo basically offers some help to Royce Keys ahead of the main event, and basically says, I'll be there for you. So we get back to the ring. It's a women's tag team match. Chelsea Green and Tiffany Stratton taking on B-Fab and Michin. All these girls put in a lot of effort. I think you had Chelsea Green. I think even at one point got the unprettier on maybe was it B-Fab? I think it was B-Fab. But before she could go for the pinfall, Michin came in and basically grabbed her. Hit the Styles Clash, kind of struggled with it for a couple of seconds, but eventually hit the Styles Clash on Chelsea Green and pinned her 1, 2, 3. Winners of the match, Michin and B-Fab. When Tiffany Stratton came in after the match, Jade Cargill basically beat her up and gave her the Jaded. This kind of reminds me of basically the program with Rhea Ripley. Now they're basically doing the same thing with Tiffany Stratton. So basically, Jade Cargill, since she lost the match to Rhea Ripley, now she's probably going to go after the women's Intercontinental title, the secondary title, and probably beat Rhea Ripley. Beat Tiffany Stratton for it. Kathy Kelly is backstage with Kiana James, and Julia confronts her, and basically you have another secondary program going on, Julia and Kiana James. This is probably building to a SmackDown match. I don't think it's even worth putting on a premium live event. Um, so you had Finn Balor walking backstage, and he's confronted by Tama Tonga. And I guess these two guys had were they part of the Bullet Club in Japan? Maybe, but this is probably where their paths crossed. Anyway, Tama Tonga basically welcomes Finn Balor to SmackDown, coming back from the commercial break. Cody Rhodes is with Nick Aldis. He's basically saying Sami Zayn is a wreck. Um, um, his emotions are all over the place. And there's a brief interaction between Sami Zayn and Cody Rhodes. Um, and um, again, they're probably teasing something's going to happen next week on SmackDown in the world title match. But like I said, even if Sami turns heel and costs Cody the belt, um, I don't think it matters. Kathy Kelly is interviewing LA Knight, and LA Knight does have a bit of a he um, is cutting this promo on the Usos, and he basically makes a mistake, and he went to say, and he probably meant to say Jey Uso, but instead he said Jimmy Uso. He tried to cover himself, but I thought all you had to say was, well, they're twins. I get them mixed up all the time. But he did manage to recover and continue his promo. And this led into right at the main event of the night. Fatal four-way for the King of the Ring. Next round, the semifinals. It's LA Knight versus Finn Balor versus Jey Uso versus Royce Keys. And again, like, of all these people, like, LA Knight, he's the forgotten man in WWE who could have been, should have been higher in the card than he is. You have Finn Balor, who, in my opinion, just my opinion, Finn Balor should ride out his contract and sign somewhere else. Obviously, you might say AEW, but really any other show, any other promotion, um, would probably be a better move for him. But you don't know how long his contract is and how much money it's for. If maybe he's happy there making the money he's got. Maybe he's happy with where he is on the card, and he doesn't want to go anywhere else. That's fine. But basically, if he does stay in WWE, he's not going anywhere. You have Jey Uso, who is still big. He's still doing the same thing, the yeets and all that, and he's always going to be periodically in the main event picture, regardless of whether he wins any matches. And you have Royce Keys, the former powerhouse Hobbs, who came over. The guy's $1 million. Maybe he needs a manager. Maybe he needs to work on the promos or get a manager. But have they really dropped the ball on Royce Keys already? It certainly seems that way. That here's a guy who should be elevated. Give him a tag team title with a partner. Give him a secondary title, the U.S. title or the Intercontinental title. They gave him the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal win, which is the right move. But since then, though, they cooled him off almost immediately. So, but in this match, he did have a lot of power moves. He was basically throwing people around, using some fantastic power moves, spine busters and slams and all of that. So he did get some shine early on in this match. I think at one point Solo Sikoa came out, and it certainly looked like he was going to be there to help out Royce Keys. You had Finn Balor had some shine in this match, trying to go for the coup de grace. I think he did hit the coup de grace on somebody. Was it Jey Uso or was it Royce Keys? Or maybe it was LA Knight. But he did hit the coup de grace on someone, but he couldn't get the pinfall. LA Knight tried to hit the BFT on Royce Keys, I think, but Royce Keys pushed him away. Um, at one point, Solo Sikoa got up on the ring apron, and then he hit LA Knight with a Samoan spike. It didn't matter whether the referee sees it, because in these fatal four-way matches, there's like no disqualifications. But anyway, Royce Keys hit the ultimate spine buster on LA Knight and was probably going to win the match. But when Jey Uso came in and basically threw out Royce Keys and pinned LA Knight, so Jey Uso wins the match and he advances to the next round. And they basically announced that the semifinals, I guess, which are going to take place next week on Raw, it's going to be uh, Oba Femi versus Dominic Mysterio. And on SmackDown, it's going to be Javon Evans versus Jey Uso. So I'm predicting my fearless prediction should be Oba Femi beating Dominic Mysterio and Jey Uso defeating Javon Evans, setting up a finals of Oba Femi versus Jey Uso, with Oba Femi winning the match. That would be my pick for the King of the Ring finals. I certainly hope that it comes that way. It certainly would be a huge mistake for Dominic Mysterio to defeat Oba Femi. I think Dom's fine if he loses the match, and he should lose the match. Same thing on the other side. I can't see Javon Evans beating Jey Uso. I think Jey Uso is probably going to win that match next week on SmackDown. I did want to look at them because I'm not all that concerned about the Queen of the Ring tournament. But I'll look it up here. So the Queen of the Ring tournament, Charlotte Flair moved on. So let me see if I can find this. And I need to put my glasses on, being blind as a bat. See if they've got. I can't really remember the other bracket. Yeah, they didn't. Here we go. Brackets. Queen of the Ring brackets. Okay. Oh, yes. So Charlotte Flair and Liv Morgan will meet next week on SmackDown, and on Raw, it'll be Io Sky versus Raquel Rodriguez. So I think I said this on In Your Head last night, that it certainly looks like at Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia, I believe it'll be Liv Morgan versus Raquel Rodriguez. That is certainly looks like the main event. Who's going to win? Liv Morgan's going to beat Charlotte next week on SmackDown, and I'm pretty certain Raquel's probably going to beat Io Sky on Raw next week, setting up Liv Morgan versus Raquel Rodriguez. Liv Morgan doesn't need to be Queen of the Ring. This would certainly help Raquel Rodriguez if she wins and advances and actually challenges Liv Morgan for the women's world title. That would probably be I'm pretty certain that's where they're going to go with that. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm pretty certain Liv Morgan versus Raquel Rodriguez, with Raquel winning, and eventually the rematch will be for the women's world title. Well, that was SmackDown last night. Let me know what you thought of the show if you watched it, and what you think about the King and Queen of the Ring. As also tune in to In Your Head Wrestling Radio Friday afternoons, 6:05. The show started a bit later last night. I guess Jack Nasty Neil, I should say, was a little late starting, but It was a fun show. The Hetty Awards were handed out. The graphics were fantastic. Um, really impressed with those. And we had uh, John Reddy and Michael Petrelli and Lexar joined the show, uh, and I was on the show. So it was an entertaining show. So tune in. As always, Toronto Stevie Live, thank you for tuning in. Like and subscribe to my channel, and I will get this on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter X and as soon as possible. Thank you, everybody, and goodbye. Good night.